So I just recently finished playing through Final Fantasy XII: The Zodiac Age on Xbox One. And I'm a big Final Fantasy fan, and I decided, once I finished all the Final Fantasies for Xbox, I would make a tier list out of them. And so this will be my longest video, and I know it's not gonna have my face in it, but we're gonna have some fun with this. So I don't think it's fair to have just SAD, I don't think this is fair, so we can just do like didn't play. Um I have played most of these, but there are some that I have not played. And some of these I will have to look up because I don't know what I'm looking at for some of these. So, like, obviously S, like S tier, and then A, I think we can do. So S, and then we can do great. You can do good. And we can do okay. So obviously, starting out the S tier. Now let's go number order. So Final Fantasy 1. Now this is a game that's okay. It's an okay game. It obviously set up what Final Fantasy was and the history of Final Fantasy. And, I can go on and on about, like, each entry in the game, which I will. But Final Fantasy 1 set the groundwork for what would be Final Fantasy. But I want to judge all these games in a vacuum of just its own merit while comparing it to each other, obviously. So Final Fantasy 1 is okay. It did a lot for the series, but the story was obviously mediocre. Didn't need to be anything special. As well as the story, the gameplay was mediocre. By that, there was only 4 classes with nameless characters, which was fine, but like it was okay, you know. But it did set a lot of first. Obviously it's the first, so it set a lot of things first. So that's why it gets the okay category. Final Fantasy 2, really, I would say good. I really enjoyed Final Fantasy 2. Good story, good characters, same gameplay, but like there is no class restriction, so like there's only 3 characters in that game, but you can make them as OP as hell, and they can beat every class. So like my only complaint with this game is that it's too easy, Final Fantasy 2, but it was really fun and good, and I enjoyed it. And it was emotional. Like again, every Final Fantasy story is very emotional and good, and the story is. I don't think there's a bad story unless we count 13. So that's just 1 and 2. I really liked 1 and 2. Final Fantasy 3. This I say was also good, just below Final Fantasy 2. Final Fantasy 3 was good because it introduced the concept of jobs, and that was revolutionary. The story was very generic because you were nameless characters just on the journey to save the world, which was kind of boring, and the characters had no stakes in there. Final Fantasy 2, you actually had names, like canon names, and you actually felt like you did something to impact the story. Um, and it was Final Fantasy 3 was really good. I very much enjoyed it. A lot of the first 6 Final Fantasies are very samey, but they all like add the like this is the first one with summons and jobs. So it goes right below Final Fantasy 3. Final Fantasy 2. And let's see. There's 5. What's Final Fantasy 4? Final Fantasy 4, this was, I would say, is a great game. This is the first Final Fantasy that really introduced a story, and it was really fucking good personally. And like it had depth, it had changing parties, and you also had 5 party members. The only one to ever have 5 party members, which was kind of broken, honestly. And you had the whole storyline with Cecil, with him becoming a Dark Knight to a Paladin and overcoming his dark past And then you had Reina, the kid who becomes like a spirit goddess pretty much and becomes the summoner. You had the two little twins who turn to stone. So a lot of good aspects. But again, this is what I like to call the alien trend, where for a few games they just added aliens into Final Fantasy. And by aliens, I mean characters that look like, I'll pull this up. Like they okay, so the concept art looks different, but they look exactly the same. Like you telling me this is an alien, just because he's from the moon, which was really weird, but it was okay. But like the main character is like long lost half brother. Yeah, long lost brother is the main villain, and you expect me to have sympathy for the villain who murdered possibly thousands of people? No, just no. So, but it was gameplay was really good. So let's put that. Well, yeah, I would say that's good. That was a great game. I would say great. Final Fantasy V is going to be good, and it's going to be below 3. Now I know that's a hot take because Final Fantasy V you had two jobs, but it was just very limiting as well, and it brought back the alien subplot of like, oh, we have to go to another world to save our world, and the worlds are crashing. Like, why do they bring in medieval and aliens together? And they do this a few times, by the way. They do this a total of 3 times. But it was just unnecessary. So, but overall, a good game. Next, we got Final Fantasy VI. Where is 6? Don't know my Roman numerals that much. 7. Final Fantasy VI. This is another great game. This is one that, like, the second one on Super Nintendo, the one that like broke bounds, and what this was my first Final Fantasy. The whole story with all the interchanging characters, I think there's like 8 playable characters or so, and just the focus and the interactions of all the characters have with each other. Obviously, amazing game. Visuals are great. Everything is good. Music, everything. Really can't complain there. My only complaint with 6 that it's a little grindy, but that's kind of the joy of Final Fantasy. I want them to be turn-based grindfest. Oh god, this one. Final Fantasy VII. Hot take. Now, I'm not talking about the remake. I'm purely talking about the original, which will also go into great tier because it was a great game. And it was a lot of people's first. And what can you say about Final Fantasy VII that hasn't been said 1,000 times before? So I'm just not going to get into it. But it's a great game. Actually, let me range just around this one because this is my favorite 2D one, I would say. And then we got FS8. I know FS8 is always the dark sheep because it had to live up to 7, and I would say it was good. I would say it was right above 2. It was a good game. Nothing spectacular, but a good game, and I very much enjoyed it. And since we're here, since we just finished all the classic Final Fantasies, let's go through the didn't plays. So, I didn't play any of the MMOs and such. So, let's get that out of the way. So, Final Fantasy 14. So, this is all the 14 DLC. Now, I played Final Fantasy 14 when it first came out, and I would say it's a good game. didn't really get too far into it, so I can't really comment on the whole thing overall. And just because I didn't play it doesn't mean it's bad. It just means I simply didn't play it. I might have to add another T. Oh no, yeah, I'm gonna have to add another TO. No, oh, god damn it. Let's go. Good. Can we add another TO? Yeah, add well below. There we go. Bad. I'm sorry. You guys know what's gonna go in the bad section, but that's for later. Let me make sure I get all the MMOs out of the way. Where's 11? Hmm, there's two different versions for that one. What's Final Fantasy 11 at? It doesn't look like they have 11 on here. Okay. But Final Fantasy 8, going back to Final Fantasy 8, I would say it's a good game. And Final Fantasy. Oh, there's Final Fantasy 11. I did not play this one because it's an MMO. So these are the didn't plays. There we go. Final Fantasy 9, I really enjoy. I would say this. It's hard because a lot of the games I find good. Like a lot of games I find them as good games. It's because actually, I'm gonna move this one to S tier. Let's do the goaded game. Yeah, fuck it. So Final Fantasy 6 will be our first S tier slash goaded tier. Can we change the color for this actually? No. Let's do. It's a bad color. Let's do black. Nah, it's too dark. Let's do like a light blue. Yeah. So, but yeah, Final Fantasy 9 was really good. But again, it did the alien trope that 5 and 4 did. And while I enjoyed it for the most part, and I found it fun, it was a bit grindy at the end. Like the story was good, characters were great. Um, I would say that I was not a fan of the blue mage person. They didn't really do anything. My main party was the knight, the princess, the dark mage, and then the thief. But yeah, they did the alien where he's like half alien again, and he was sent like they did Dragon Ball Z, where he was sent to destroy this world. The only good thing I can say about the story is that the cutscenes are beautiful. But like the story overall was okay, was good until the alien portion. So, and then we got what is this? I might have to look into that. And then finally, uh, this is my favorite one, Final Fantasy X. This is also a goaded game because that was the first game for the PS2, brand new technology, and that game made me cry so many times. The story, and like I'm doing a brief overview of the stories of all of these because the story of all of these deserves a video essay in themselves. But Final Fantasy X is like just so goddamn good and so sad, but so good. And like just like what it means to live. Final Fantasy X 2, never played it. So cannot comment on that because it's like the unofficial sequel. I'm not even sure where it takes place in the timeline, to be honest with you. And then let me look up that Final Fantasy Is that 6? FF6AF. What's that? Fantasy 6 AO Force. What is that thing though? Oh, it's 4. Oh, Final Fantasy 4, the after years. I don't. What is this? Is this a sequel? Okay, so it is a sequel to Final Fantasy 4. Oh, that's weird. Okay, I don't know how I feel about that. Never played, so cannot comment. Final Fantasy 11, already didn't play. Final Fantasy 12, it's okay. I know that's a hot take. This is the most recent one I played, but it's okay. Like, well, I played the Zodiac Age, I played the remastered edition, but it was really good. Like, I very much enjoyed it. It was non-traditional because it's pretty much an autopilot game. It's not so much turn-based, but it's pretty much so much autopilot, where like you kind of control and you can kind of like set a list of attacks your characters can do, and then they do so. But I really enjoyed it. Like the characters were good. And, like that's the thing. Like if Final Fantasy, the characters are bad and all the stories are good. Like it's really hard to like give your opinion about each game without going in depth and spoiling everything, and without doing like an hour-long analysis. But it was okay. It was an okay game. I very much enjoyed it. Now, hot takes time. We got. Well, this is Final Fantasy 14 as a base game, I think. And this is also didn't play. You can just see, well, because all of these consider it, these are all Final Fantasy 14 DLCs. Like, all these are spin offs and MMOs down here, so I've never actually played any of them. Oh, God, these games. What is this? Is this another unofficial? Why is there so many unofficial sequels? 12. What is it called? RW? What is this? Final Fantasy 12? Revolt Wings? It was a DS. It was a tactical role playing game for the DS? Is this the DS version? Oh my god. No, it's a Fire Emblem clone. Oh my god, so this is a Fire Emblem clone based on Final Fantasy 12. What the fuck? Well, that's gonna go again in the didn't play. Now the hot takes. So we all know Final Fantasy 13 is bad. We all know it. If you're a true Final Fantasy fan, Final Fantasy 13 is bad. There's a reason why there was only ever one during the sixth generation of consoles, the 360 and PS era, like PS3 and 360 era, and it was just so bad. But I will have to say the first one was okay. Cannot deny. First one was okay. But I'm just sorry. Part 2 and Lightning Returns are just bad games. Like the first one is the whole thing about Host saving her sister. And then at the end of the first one, she gets stuck in the prism. So now it's like her sister you play as, which is like just totally defeats the point of it. And then also the third one, she comes back, and then like they did like a cyberpunk theme that was really futuristic with like guns, and there was very little swords. It was mainly just like it felt like I don't know, man. It was like a techno city. It was really weird, and I just don't know why they did that. Like it was unnecessary. And then the last one they have on here, and the last one I played. Now I haven't played 16, so the 16 would have been put into different didn't play anyway. But 15, I don't care. Anyone says goated game. I found it pretty goated. I love the. Actually, you know what? No, we put it in good. I'll put it above. Yes, I'm putting it above Final Fantasy VII. You can see I really like the 2D games just because how simple they were. Actually, yeah, I'm okay with this. I might put this. Yeah, no. I'm gonna put this here. Yeah, Final Fantasy 15 is a great game. I'll say. I don't care what anyone says. The only thought I didn't like was the story at the end. Like the game came out in 2015. It's been 10 years, damn. But like that ending sucked. I'm sorry. Like where like he hopped into the crystal and like it jumped into 10 years. I didn't like that. Everything up till then, I found it a great game to be honest with you. But then the moment that like we realized who the villain was, and then they're like, okay, let's just do a 10-year time skip and have the main character trapped in a prism and all the other characters age, and then they all have to get the band back together for one final fight just sucked. I'm sorry, that was just ass. The side stories were really good with the other three characters. I really enjoyed that, but like the ending just sucked so much ass. I'm sorry. Gameplay was good though. It was hack and slash and it was different, but it was cool. And I think this is my definitive Final Fantasy list. Now, these are all the ones that I played. So this is 1 through 15, including all the spin off. Now, I don't know if all the spin offs here, I didn't make the list. But overall, I'm happy with this list. And I will definitely die on this hill with it. So definitely, so number one, definitely D10, then 6, then 4, then 15, then 7. So, kind of like the order of this. Um, yeah, I just don't like Final Fantasy 13, I'm sorry. And I think, yeah, this is Final Fantasy. Yeah, I found it 14, the base game, good. Oh no, this is. Oh no, this is 16. Never mind, this is 16. I didn't realize the one more number for it. Yeah, that's gonna go in the didn't play category. So, right, that's my list. I hope you guys liked it. Like and subscribe. And let me know your opinion down below.